So this is a guest on the Ross Report we've been wanting to have for quite a while. We have really admired his work. He does a great job as anchor for TV3, but he's also done something even more special in doing some research on this serious issue that we've been talking about, the child sex abuse by the priests. And Jim Hummel, we want to thank you for doing the work that you've done and welcome you to the Ross
Oh,
Report.
thank you. Thanks. Good to be here.
Let's get a little bit about, because I know people want to know about Jim Hummel, and they don't get to hear that on the evening news. You just talk about the news. You
That's
don't talk
right,
about
yeah.
Jim.
We have a little time for banter
Yeah.
with
So-
Rob and everything.
Yeah, there you go. Where are you from, Jim?
s-
And you've been here for quite a while. I know.
Yeah, actually this week, 10 years
Wow.
in Acadiana in
That's
Lafayette. It
fantastic.
feels like yesterday, but yeah, I've been here for 10 years. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, went to school in Boston, and worked in Boston for a few years, and then said, you know what, I want to be a reporter. And everyone says you have to send your tapes everywhere. So I sent probably about 50 tapes out.
Yeah.
And got 2 bites. One of them was out in Washington State. And my dad said that's too far to drive, but you could pack up the Jetta and head down to Louisiana pretty easy. So
All right. Thank
here
you,
I am.
Dad.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks, Dad.
Dad, for letting Jim come south. All right. That's great. And so 10 years, that really is hard to believe.
Yeah,
That's hard
I
to
think the
believe.
first 2 years went by really slow.
And now you were doing reporting at the
I
time.
was
You
reporting,
were
yeah.
straight
I think
reporting.
for about 2 years I was a nightside reporter,
Mhm.
and then I started doing some weekend anchoring, and then the big job opened up in 2013, and have been on the desk ever since, but still get a chance to
Yeah.
report, which I love.
Well, I'll tell you, you've done a great job with this investigative reporting
Mhm.
on the list.
Thank you.
And I think it is a troubling subject, but it is one that needs to be talked about, discussed, and the church needs to step up. Now, this is what amazed me about the research that you did. You came out with a very specific list of names.
Mm.
How did you come up with that? And I know you have
Sure.
to follow those journalistic ethics where you double source, triple source, and find out
Absolutely.
exactly what.
Yeah, well, what I would say is I really want to drive the point home that this was a big team effort, and I'm really proud that KATC is willing to undertake these kind of projects. And it really started years ago, I think about 2014, when that Minnesota Public Radio report came out. We started looking into this again, and we have a huge pile of documents that we've obtained
Yeah,
throughout the
the
years.
subject had kind of gone dormant for a while, it seems.
It did, and I think 2014 was really the year that I got involved, and kind of a bunch of producers at work, we realized that there is this list that was acknowledged by the diocese in 2004. They acknowledged a list of 15, and as recently as 2014, former Bishop Michael Jarrell had said he saw no purpose in releasing their names, and we were questioning it, but we were doing that on behalf of victims who were coming forward and others in the public who said, this isn't right. Why should these names not be out there? They could be living near schools. They could be living near playgrounds. They're not sex offenders. The majority have never been convicted, never saw a day in court. Some are dead, some are alive. But we just felt that the
that's
public has a right to know.
I think that is something that most of us don't really think about. If they haven't gone through the legal process and they don't have to register as a sex offender, you're right.
Hmm.
They could be anywhere.
Absolutely. And some we don't know where they are.
We still don't know.
We still don't know, yeah.
When so many people have tried to get the bishop to commit, many dioceses around the state of Louisiana have released the names.
Hmm.
But the Lafayette diocese has not. Has anybody given you any reason for not releasing the names?
Well, they've been forthcoming in a sense that they have since said they will be releasing it. In September, I think it was, the bishop had a forum or a panel on
Yes, sorry.
the church sex
Yes.
abuse crisis and
Yes.
said he was considering it then. But then really following the direction of the Archdiocese of New Orleans is my understanding, when the bishop and the Diocese of Lafayette said, yes, they committed, we will be releasing these names. We've been waiting ever since. I want to say that was in October when they firm committed to, they
Right,
would be
but-
making these names public.
So my point is, you all were able to vet the names that you had. How did you do that? Just exactly
Mhm.
what was the process?
Yeah.
How did you find that
Well,
out?
we went through the public records. Every name that you see on our list, I think we're up to about 35, 36 names. We found in lawsuits, they were mentioned by police as being under investigation. In some cases, the church acknowledged there was an investigation,
Mhm.
or they have pending cases right now, civil or criminal cases.
That took a huge amount of research.
It
going
sure
through
did.
those
Yeah,
records.
like I said, team effort all the way. I'm just the front man on it, but we've had, gosh, at least 4 producers who have been working on this.
Multiple parishes?
Oh, yeah, we've been to every courthouse in Acadiana, getting all the public records we can. We still have public records requests pending. We've filed probably hundreds in the past few months, so we're not. I don't think those agencies are the biggest fans of us at the moment because that is a lot of work on their
Well,
end
it
too.
is. It is.
And to give them the benefit of the doubt, some of these agencies, their old records, they're still
And they're
working
not
at it.
computerized.
They're not
Some of them,
computerized in
yeah.
many cases, and
Right.
that's a struggle too. Even looking at some of these documents, it's so hard to even read some of them too.
Right. So you're still waiting on some of those.
Yeah,
There could be a lot
we
more.
have some coming in, and coming in with nothing, and that's fine. That's just how it is. But
Mhm.
we do have some agencies that are still working, and they've kept the lines of communication open, telling us that, hey, we're still working at this. We're gonna get it to you when we can.
Okay, we're gonna take a break right now because we have lots more to talk about. 232-1542. If you want to get in on the conversation, we're speaking with Jim Hummel, a news anchor over at our news partners, KATC TV. They've done amazing work researching the list of sexual predator priests. It's even tragic to just say it. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with Jim Hummel, news anchor and lead investigator on the list, the research into the sex abuse by the predator priests in our diocese and in other dioceses as well. But Jim, what made you think to put this front burner? What brought this back up to the forefront?
Well, definitely the Pennsylvania grand jury report, I think, brought it to the forefront in media landscapes across the country, especially here in Lafayette, though. This is where it all began
Yeah.
all those years ago. And so I think we were hearing about new cases in 2018 as well, but we were also hearing from victims who were bringing things, to our attention that we
Well,
had never heard of.
once they heard you were doing the story,
No,
or
not necessarily. Actually, just from the Pennsylvania grand jury
oh,
report. I
okay,
think some people were emboldened by that and wanted to come forward. And
and said
that's,
we need to do the same thing here. That the interesting thing to me is that no one in law enforcement has really taken this.
yeah, to our knowledge, no law enforcement agency has ever asked the diocese for their list of accused priests. And again, these are accused priests. None of them have been convicted. We're not saying that at all. They've faced credible accusations through a number of factors, either through law
Right,
enforcement.
but that's what the legal process is for,
Absolutely. They've never had their day in court. Some of them are dead,
and neither have their victims
and neither have their victims.
had their day in
Absolutely.
court. So it
Mhm.
seems to me that should be the next step. But to have getting someone, I mean, this is such an area where so faithful to the church and that sort of thing, and I think that's been part of the reason why
Mhm.
the church was able to sweep this under the rug for so long. It's tragic. Have you had blowback from the church or from faithful parishioners who feel that it's not right to do this?
I can say whenever you do a report about someone's faith, it really goes right to their core. It's
Yeah.
so important to so many people, and you have to respect that. I can say whenever you're doing a report about someone's faith, you kind of do expect to have blowback, and pushback, but the reaction to the list has been overwhelmingly positive. I personally have only received one email from someone saying, "Shame on you for doing this." The majority of people are survivors of clergy sex abuse who have said thank you. They've told us about how seeing someone's name
Yeah.
on a list has,
Bro,
given them a step toward closure, toward healing,
I
and
mean, I can't even imagine what some of these people feel when they hear these stories, they read these stories, they see the names.
Mhm.
I just can't even imagine what it does to them.
I think they've been scared for a long time about pushback from
Mm-hmm.
their own families,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps, and from the church. And that's overwhelmingly the message that I've heard from survivors is that they are feeling so better
Mm-hmm.
having seen their
That someone is
person's name on the list.
acknowledging
And it
that.
is. It's an acknowledgement
You're right.
of the abuse that has happened to them.
All right, now this list, this is not a static list. There will be
No.
more names coming out.
Yeah, I think we published this, it's probably about a month ago now. And every day, just about every day, I'm getting a new email, I'm getting a new voicemail from someone giving us a name that we've never heard of. And we are investigating
Mm-hmm.
that. I think we've put together a pretty solid list of what has been out there
Mm-hmm.
in the public records
Right.
domain. We will be at the mercy of the church in some cases for records. They're not public records, what the church has.
Well, I'm very hopeful that the bishop will be forthcoming, and and because we cannot heal this
Hmm.
until we acknowledge this.
Hmm.
And sweeping it under the rug is not going to help. And delaying the release of names. I understand they want to be cautious, they want to be careful and make
Yeah, they
sure they
want to get
don't
it right.
hurt anyone.
Sure.
But when you see all the other dioceses coming out, and I think it's time.
Yeah, and I think for here in the Diocese of Lafayette, what Bishop Desatel did in September by at least saying he was considering the list in itself was such a huge step. And that night,
Right.
I heard from so many devout Catholics saying, "Thank you! Like finally, this is happening."
Now, how can if someone has a story to tell you or
Hmm.
another name that they want you to know about, how can they get in touch with you, Jim?
Oh, email is probably the easiest. Jhummel, Hummel at ketctv.com. If you go to ketc.com/the list, on all those articles, we do have
Right.
links to our producers because, like I said, this was a huge team effort. We have several producers who are still working.
Right. And you do have the program online that they can watch
Yes, yeah, at that
online.
web address as well. There's the full half-hour special. What we did was we did it in 3 nights last month, 3 different parts, and then
Hmm.
even that week when we aired things, we had new developments that we had to put in to a half-hour special
Right.
by the end of the week.
So it really is it's a
It
fluid
was fluid
story.
then, and it's still going on right now as well.
Okay.
Hmm.
So J Hummel at KTC.com,
KTCTV.com. Yeah,
TV.com.
yeah.
All right. Or just go to the website,
Or go to the website. Yeah, you can
KTCTV.com.
find out how to get in
All
touch
right. All right.
with us over there.
Jim, thanks so much for your time. I know you're
Hmm.
getting ready to go over an anchor, and
Yeah,
we appreciate the
we'll
time
be
that
up
you
at
spent.
5, 6, and 10
Yeah,
tonight.
there
Yeah.
you go. Thanks. Jim Hummel, news anchor at KTC TV. Just great work. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having
Appreciate
me
it.
on.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.